Hello and welcome to this special transmission of the SCO Summit. And this is, of course, something very historical and important that is taking place in Pakistan. It's going to, of course, begin tomorrow. But we already have senior leadership of various countries coming in with, of course, the Chinese premier also in Pakistan at the moment. And this is very historic given the fact that this visit has happened after a span of 11 years. And, of course, China is a very important and strong partner of Pakistan and has always been in times of need and otherwise as well. So we're going to be taking a look at what the day has been like, particularly with the arrival, of course, of the Chinese Prime Minister, and then, of course, with the way that different meetings unfolded and different bilateral collaboration avenues were discussed. We, of course, saw a great welcome being given to the Chinese counterpart, and after that, we saw that there have been a number of MOUs and agreements on different fields that have been signed and agreed upon. And this is integral, particularly in terms of the second phase of CPEC that we're entering into with China, and, of course, in terms of the kind of partnership that we have always had with the country and that we, of course, are looking at for the future as well. And so trade and investment relations with both the countries have been very, very important. We also, of course, saw the virtual inauguration of the Gwadar International Airport, and this, of course, also was done by the Prime Minister of Pakistan with, of course, the Chinese counterpart also in attendance. And we saw, of course, the Prime Minister speaking about this particular airport as a gift by the Chinese. And this is important, particularly when we talk about the development of Balochistan and how this is going to develop and bring in a new era of prosperity for the region and then, of course, for Pakistan in general. We're also going to be focusing on the big summit, of course. It begins tomorrow with the important aspects, of course, in terms of the participation of various countries, including Russia and India, and then, of course, with reference to the number of issues relating to economy, counterterrorism, security, and, of course, environment that are going to be important aspects of the agenda. So we're going to be taking a look at all of that in our transmission today and try and understand what the day has been about and what we can expect from this summit and what will be, of course, part of tomorrow and the day after. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Farooq Batafi and Raja Faisal, and we've also been joined online by former Ambassador Mr. Masood Khalid and senior research fellow of the Charhar Institute, Cheng Xizhong. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being part of the debate and, of course, the discussion around what is going to be the very important SCO summit and, of course, the bilateral relations with China. Let me start with you, Ambassador Saab. The way that we have seen Pak-China relationship flourish over the years, it's, of course, very obvious to everyone how close the two countries are. But as we enter into the new phase of CPEC and as we aspire towards deeper and more stronger bilateral economic relations in particular, this visit by the Chinese counterpart, even before the SCO summit and the talk of bilateral engagements, a number of MOUs that have been signed today is extremely important in penning the way forward and then, of course, stemming the relationship that we already have with China. And I want your perspective on particularly the visit, the fact that we've seen this after a long gap. Do you think that this is going to be something that will fundamentally enhance our relationship with China even further?
Well, thank you very much. Absolutely. This meeting between the two sides, especially when the visit is taking place of Chinese premier after a gap of 11 years, I'm sure talks have been held today and some deliberation may take place tomorrow also. But the entire range, entire gamut of bilateral cooperation has been reviewed, presumably. And the situation, the developments in the region and international developments, particularly the situation in the Middle East, in South Asia, in Southwest Asia, Ukraine war, I'm sure all these topics came under discussion between the two premiers. So as far as, the importance is concerned, when Pakistan and China meet, they take a step further to consolidate their strong relationship, which has endured in the past 70 years or so. So it is another, bricklaying, another confidence building. And we have a convergence of views and identity of views on key issues facing this world. Traditional threats, non-traditional threats, environment, regional developments, international situation, polarization in the geopolitical context. So all these, and then this visit, as you saw in your intro also, you told us that about, I think, 12 or 13 agreements, MOUs have been signed today. China has gifted, rightly so, as described by the Prime Minister, that a brand new modern airport has been given as a gift to Pakistan and Gwadar. And of course, this will, together with Gwadar Airport, will give an impetus to commercial and trade cooperation, not only between Pakistan and China, but also its benefits will reach, the broader region and to our neighborhood. Because, for example, SCO countries, member states, about 40% of them are landlocked. These Central Asian republics, they look towards Pakistan, look at Pakistan in reaching out to, waters, the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea, for their connectivity and for trade. So, bilateral cooperation, I think I'm very happy that this visit is taking place of the Chinese Premier. And from tomorrow, of course, he will get engaged in the SCO heads of government meeting. But today, this visit is important. It will surely take our bilateral cooperation and friendship further and consolidate it.
Absolutely. Mr. Cheng, I also want your views on the matter. And of course, if you could also help us understand the Chinese perspective when it comes to Pak-China relationship. And then, of course, the significance of this particular visit as we move ahead and look forward to deeper economic ties with China. Of course, we have seen that both countries have had great relationship and mean a lot to each other. But in terms of the kind of investment and trade potential that exists between the two, what are your hopes and what is your perspective, particularly from the Chinese side, in order to take this the next step?
This time, Chinese Premier Li Qiang is in Islamabad to attend the SCO conference and also pay an official visit to Pakistan. High-level exchanges between China and Pakistan have always been very close. China-Pakistan relations over political, economic, military, diplomatic, security, and other aspects, and the relationship between the two countries is rocky, solid, and unshakable, unbreakable. Pakistan has always given China firm support on a series of issues concerning China's core interests, and China has always firmly supported Pakistan in defending its independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national dignity, and sincerely and selflessly help Pakistan to achieve economic development and social stability. China-Pakistan are iron brothers, we call, and any attempt to undermine China-Pakistan mutual trust and cooperation, the construction of the China-Pakistan economic corridor will not succeed. So since the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Pakistan 73 years ago, the relations between the two countries have withstood the test of international changes. The Chinese side reiterates that China-Pakistan relations are a priority for China's diplomacy, and the Pakistani side stresses that Pakistan-China relations are the cornerstone of Pakistan's foreign policy. The two sides have unbreakable political mutual trust, fruitful practical cooperation in various fields, and close coordination on international and regional affairs. The two sides will, I think, continue to view and develop bilateral relations from a strategic and long-term perspective, take effective measures to safeguard the common interests, promote the social and economic development of the two countries, enhance the well-being of the two peoples, work together to maintain regional peace, stability, development, and prosperity, and accelerate the building of a closer China-Pakistan community with a shared future in the new era. Thank you.
Absolutely, and that is, of course, something that we also look forward to. And Faisal, I want your take on this as well, particularly when we take a look at what is it that we want from the future of this relationship as well. Of course, we've seen that today's visit and what we hope that comes out of the SCO summit as well is something that will enhance this relationship further. But if we were to talk about what other steps can we take in order to make this relationship flourish even more, I understand that we've had these bilateral engagements, we've had the economic help from China in the past as well. And of course, we look forward to even more investment coming in and more collaborative avenues explored. But in terms of aspects that can still be enhanced further, where do you think Pakistan-China relationship can really improve?
Yes, Anna, it's a very good question, and obviously, if we look at the government to government, G to G relations, they have always been there. Now is the time for second phase of CPAC, which we are seeing that it is going to be on the full swing now. B2B, business to business relations that are required in terms of different fields, be it IT or be it economic flourishing of Pakistan, it will be required in coming days and months. But when we talk about China as a country, as an economic power, we one thing see which is very significant about China, and that is cooperation. Be it Pakistan, be it the underdeveloped African countries and Far East countries, wherever we see China's positive roles in terms of enhancing the capability or economy of the poor countries, which we have been seeing since a long time. And I think this is kind of cooperation which is always required from a bigger country in terms of economy, in terms of population, and a leading country in terms of advancement, which we are seeing. And of course, we shouldn't be forgetting China is a country in their own country, their own population. They have raised millions of people, more than 700 million people. They have been raised from obviously below below poverty line. They were there, and they have actually raised them up, and they have created a middle class in their own country, which is always fruitful for their own economy, as well as world over. We have been seeing that their cooperation with other countries, that has been marvelous. And same is the case with iron brother Pakistan. Since the day one, we have always been seeing China stood firm with Pakistan, and same is the case with Pakistan as well. Always we have been standing with China, and be it Kashmir issue, be it Pakistan's economic issues, whatever Pakistan has been facing, China has always been there. And we shouldn't be forgetting, when it comes to defense of Pakistan, China has always been there for Pakistan, and both of the countries, they have mutual agreements through which they are it's like holding somebody's hand and step by step going forward. This is the friendship level of both of the countries. And when we talk about CPAC, it can be said that in coming future, what is being expected from CPAC and from both of the countries like China and Pakistan, to strive for its connectivity with the Russia and Central Asian republics through Afghanistan, by connecting CPAC to all of these countries. That is on the cards, and it is it is going to be beneficial for both of the countries. Especially it can benefit the Central Asian republics as well, because when we talk about Pakistan and China, of course, Pakistan has a youth bulge that can be utilized in different different segmentations of the economy. One of them is, of course, the IT sector. We have been seeing that the youth of Pakistan, it is more inclined towards getting educated in IT, and China has already excelled in the IT sector. There is a lot we can learn from China. There is a lot in terms that when we talk about the skill development, China has outclassed everyone. You name the product and China is making it. And when it comes to, of course, skill development, China can be a huge help for Pakistan, because Pakistan is known for being a country through which, of course, the human resource it goes to Middle Eastern countries and other countries as well, and becomes part of their economies, and it helps out Pakistan's economy as well. So to me, I think Pakistan has a huge opportunity, and with China's help, Pakistan can develop its its skill development can be looked after as well. So way forward for both of the countries is working in these sectors. Of course, Pakistan lacks in agri-tech, which China is already working on it, and China is of course helping out Pakistan in the second phase of CPEC.
Right.
And when it comes to SEZs, special economic zones are going to be pivotal for the second phase of the CPEC, and in which of course we will be seeing that the different businesses, they will be attracted towards Pakistan and CPEC. And when CPEC is full-fledged in the working condition, I am pretty much sure that it would of course help Pakistan to further enhance Pakistan's economy, as well as it would be the shortest route for China to get connected with the Middle Eastern countries and to get connected with the African countries as well. And overall, if I say that future is very bright, and the friendship we are seeing right now, it will further enhance itself.
Right, absolutely. And Farooq, Faisal mentioned the aspects of B2B relationship, and I understand that we're looking forward, of course, in terms of a lot of business opportunities and investment in Pakistan. But I want your take on what more can be done to develop these B2B relationships, particularly making Pakistan a more business-friendly environment for China. And of course, we take a look at all of these areas of development, such as agri-tech and energy and others. But in terms of actually developing that technology or supporting Pakistan in indigenization or development of that technology at home, what sort of aspects can we also look at for China or Chinese businesses for their support? One. And secondly, with reference to our government relationships with both the countries, I also want your take in terms of what sort of geopolitical stance can there be for Pakistan and China, and for Pakistan in particular, with this relationship, in order to present itself as a strong partner, as a strong player in the region.
Right, Sana, thank you very much for the question. I think that I will also start with the aspirational aspect of the relationship. I just was remembering that every time we talk about this relationship, we hear phrases like taller than the mountains, deeper than the deepest ocean. And then one comeback came to me, and that is, there is no yardstick to measure love, pure love. I think that the relationship between these two countries has endured over time, and it has gone from strength to strength. I wanted to actually include two small anecdotes from my own life. Somewhere around 35 years ago, my late father was still alive. I'm a school student, and he is telling me about the nuances of various relations with various foreign countries, relationship between Pakistan and various countries. And they are very complicated relations. Then when it comes to China, he looks at me, smiles, soulfully smiles, and says, Pak Chen Yoi Wansui, Pak Chen Friendship Zindabad, right? So this is the sentiment, and I'm talking about a soldier who believed in a realistic, world. Another episode from my life, my first interview on television was with Professor Stephen Cohen. And we are talking about various foreign policy issues, and he is once again talking about realistic theory, right? How real is the world and how practical you have to be. So when it comes to ethics and values in the international arena, I ask him how relevant is morality in the international system. He looks at me, compliments me on my question, and then gives me two examples. One is beating us up, hurting us all, that is America and Israel. The other one he mentioned was Pakistan and China. And I think that you can see even today, before arrival of the Chinese delegation, there are spoilers who keep on working to spoil such precious visits. And there was an attempt, and you saw that how strong this relationship is, that the Chinese delegation was undeterred. Now, let us talk about your question. And regarding B2B and G2G also. My concern regarding B2B is you have to look at the bilateral trade, Sana. Pakistan imports somewhere around, trade of what, $22 billion from China. And when it comes to Pakistan's exports to China, they are less than 3 billion. Why would that be? Because Pakistan hasn't mastered the art of value addition to its product. Secondly, it hasn't done, or at least our businesses haven't done much of research on the Chinese market. When you look at the exports, mostly the things that we export are, without value addition, like cotton yarn, like copper, like zinc ore, similar things, right? So I think that there are 2 or 3 steps that you have to look at. First of all, our businesses need to go to China and explore what kind of market there is and what kind of things that are needed there. And then what we can do is, ask our Chinese friends also to help us in building capacity to add value to our product, because that is very important. And remember that when it comes to value addition and exporting industries, any country that reaches certain stage of evolution actually starts doing something fascinating. Japan did it in 1990s, ergo we had the Asian tigers, that whenever it modernizes and there is surplus industry, they export it to other countries, right? And I think because of the carbon emissions, other concerns, China can use, to export some space in Pakistan, because Pakistan is nowhere near the carbon emissions, to install factories here, and through them, Pakistan can export content or material or commodities to China as well and to the world. And it can become practically a value chain between China and Pakistan. So this is what I believe is the first step. And of course, then, as was pointed out by Faisal also, by the way, Faisal earlier called this relationship iron brothers. As I pointed out repeatedly in previous interactions also, I call this relationship blood brothers. We are now like that. So this, business cooperation can go from strength to strength, because now every product in the market which is dominating. Chinese EV companies are actually beating up Tesla. Umpteen others are taking place like that. iPhone was being built in China. So Pakistan can learn a lot and get a lot of skill as well. Now G2G. The concern regarding this relationship, and of course when it comes to, I spoke about the strength of relationship already, and both countries are together. But the biggest problem is that because of the propaganda industry that is founded in the West, especially operated by Indians, they keep on actually trying to create some bad blood and keep on creating this impression that everything is about strategy, it is not about economics. I think that we have to, and the world especially, need to learn from the Chinese values, especially emphasis on the economic growth and well-being of their people. The way China has actually brought so many out of poverty, that is impressive. And I think that I would rather focus right now on the economic growth, because China is also doing that.
Yeah.
We can talk about the future partnerships as well, but later in the program.
Absolutely. Ambassador Masood, I want your take on the fact that when we talk about this important relationship, there is of course also the concern when we talk about the international community at large on those that perhaps don't take it very well. And I want your perspective in terms of how Pak-China friendship has of course withstood that test throughout, but what sort of significance do you think there is when we talk about our partners or our relations with other countries around the world, and how far will this be able to be something that Pakistan will be able to tackle and balance with, or that other countries around the world will be able to, so to speak, tolerate because it doesn't go down well with them? What aspects do you think will be important in order to keep this precarious balance?
Well, first of all, the world will have to live with this relationship because it has continued to grow and gain strength in the past 70 years or so. So there's no way that both that two countries are going to do any backtracking as far as their relations are concerned because it's a long-term relationship. It's a futuristic relationship, and we have tested each other, and we have actually withstood the pressures, changes, domestic changes, international changes, and despite the vicissitudes of time, we have proven to the world that this relationship is really strong and rock solid. And the reason is that we have respected each other. This is based on mutual confidence, mutual trust, mutual respect, non interference in each other's internal affairs. And it can be described as a model relationship. Every relationship has some issues, some problems. China, when this relationship is started, frankly, China was an agrarian economy. It was a developing country. It was a poor economy. But in the past 45 years or so, China is transformed completely. It's now a knowledge economy. Now, what can Pakistan learn from? Pakistan can learn a lot from it. Pakistan can really, Mr. Farag was talking about the trade imbalance. Yes, there's a huge trade imbalance, but he is right. Number one, our business community has not explored the Chinese market as much as they should be doing. China is a very big importer of raw materials, and Pakistan is rich in raw materials. Have we utilized that advantage? We have not. We have not added value to our products. All these things, we need a holistic strategy to make inroads into a Chinese business market. Now, that is economy. CPAC phase 2 is starting. I think CPAC phase 1, despite problems, and I must emphasize, I need to underscore that the type of project which is BRI or CPAC, a mega initiative, this kind of initiative, this kind of program is bound to face some challenges, some issues. It is but natural.
Yeah.
But these problems, these issues have been exaggerated by our detractors, by our spoilers, who of course do not wish China and Pakistan to this relationship to grow, and they try to scuttle it. And I can give you numerous examples. But my point is that this relationship is based on solid foundation. We are now engaged in a multifaceted cooperative relationship. We have, you know, so many areas in which two countries are cooperating: security, counterterrorism, defense, economy, trade, education, science and technology. About 28,000 Pakistani students are there. Pakistan is one of the highest recipient of scholarships from China. All these things. Yes, we need to enhance our capacity, HR capacity, and the government of Pakistan can sort of in conjunction, in cooperation with Chinese government, can give special priority to this aspect because the skill set of our manpower has to improve. We have great potential, youth bulge, and this and that, but all these things are our challenges which we have to do. And my experience of serving in China has been the Chinese are true friends. They have been cooperating and helping Pakistan, and they are willing to help Pakistan. Certain things we have to do, they will come forward, they will help us. Now, if you look at the strategic picture, what is happening in the region, what is happening globally, I tell you, there is a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability as far as international order is concerned. This is already a disarray in the international order, and we don't know where will this drift stop. Will it stop, or will it engulf us in a protracted, sort of conflict-like situation? So it's very difficult to predict now. All the more reason, given these developments which are happening in our region, in South Asia, in Southeast Asia, and Middle East, Pakistan and China, who have proved that they are trusted partners, that their strategic thinking is same, and they support each other on each other's core interest. All the more reason that they enhance their strategic communication.
Right.
They develop their strategic cooperation more, and they align their policies together to face the challenges which are common to both China and Pakistan.
Absolutely, and this is extremely important. And Mr. Cheng, I want your take on this as well in terms of the avenues that we can further explore to enhance this relationship, but also in terms of what the ambassador was speaking in terms of how problems are inevitable and the fact that there are, of course, spoilers and those that do not want this relationship to flourish, that do not want projects such like CPEC to flourish. And of course, these commitments and reassurances have been given by Pakistan, and both countries realize that this is the utmost priority of both the countries, and that every measure is taken in order to secure that. But I want your perspective in terms of what your response will be to those elements that have played a role of spoilers, be it those that exist in the form of terrorist groups within Pakistan, or also in terms of other countries outside of Pakistan and China who look at this relationship negatively.
Our bilateral relations include defense cooperation, security cooperation, anti-terrorism cooperation. So with regard to defense cooperation, I would like to make 3 points. First, the relationship between the Chinese and the Pakistani militaries is a very important pillar of bilateral relations. The Chinese armed forces have always maintained very close cooperative relations with the Pakistani armed forces. Second, in recent years, the two sides have continuously strengthened strategic coordination, deepened practical cooperation in various fields, and enhanced the ability to jointly respond to various risks and challenges. The third, the cooperation between the Chinese and the Pakistani militaries is not aimed at any third party, and our aim is to firmly safeguard regional peace and stability. So the healthy and strong development of China-Pakistan and military-to-military relations is of great strategic significance.
We were just discussing the areas of defense cooperation that we can explore further, so we'd just like your thoughts on that.
Cooperation. Okay, with regard to counterterrorism cooperation, I would like to also make some points. First, both China and Pakistan are victims of terrorism. Second, China and Pakistan strongly condemn terrorist attacks, and China recognizes the tremendous contributions made by Pakistan to combat terrorism over the years. And also China affirms Pakistan's unremitting efforts to ensure the safety of Chinese personnel and projects. So third, we resolutely oppose the petty actions taken by some regional forces to undermine China-Pakistan relations, to undermine the China-Pakistan economic corridor, and undermine Pakistan's economic development and social stability. The fourth point is that China-Pakistan have reaffirmed the zero-tolerance attitude in combating terrorism in all its forms and agreed to further strengthen anti-terrorism and security cooperation in an all-round way. At the same time, the two sides have called on the international community to strengthen counterterrorism cooperation and resolutely oppose the adoption of double standards on the issue of counterterrorism. Thank you.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Cheng Xizhong, and of course, Ambassador Masood Khalid for joining us and discussing this very important relationship and the future of this particular relationship, and of course, the SEO summit. And I want, Faisal, your take on the upcoming SEO summit as well. We talked about the bilateral engagements that were held today, but in particular, when we talk about the SEO, what more can be achieved when we talk about Pak-China and also the multilateral platform?
Yes, and obviously when we talk about SEO itself, we know that it is all about economic, mutual benefits. It's all about connectivity, and that connectivity is direly required in this region. I mean, look at Pakistan, and then India, and then China, and then all of the Central Asian republics. I mean, we have a country that was troubled for almost 20 years, Afghanistan, and that trouble is still to some extent there, which needs to be, of course, taken care of. And then we have Iran as well, that is bordering us, and Iran has its own issues related to, of course, there are sanctions on it. So when we talk about cooperation, the cooperation which SCO promotes, the cooperation which SCO deals with all of the challenges.
Right.
I mean, it is very important, and for connectivity as well as the challenges which are being faced by all of the countries of the SCO.
Right.
And to me, I think it is going to be very important. And when it comes to all of these challenges related to terrorism and cross-border terrorism especially, then Pakistan of course requires that aspect to be highlighted as well, and
Absolutely.
SCO will be a good forum for that as
Absolutely. And Farooq, I want your perspective also, particularly in terms of the matters of defense cooperation that we were just discussing, and of course the SCO summit.
Right. When you're talking about defense and security concerns, that is bilateral, right?
Yes.
And that is important because both countries have actually stood by each other, come what may. And I think that the reason why I did not want to elaborate further was that both countries trust each other.
Yeah.
And know that they have each other's back, right? In every conflict, we knew that China was there, and every time China had some difficulty, Pakistan was there. So we are going to stay close, and we are going to work in tandem. It is great to see the Prime Minister meeting with the Pakistani military leadership also, and I think that that is a great moment to exchange notes and compare notes and work together. Now,
Absolutely.
SEO.
Yes.
Because Faisal ended with a personal note, so let me begin with a personal note as well.
Okay.
And everything seems so old, but I just wanted to point out that when Shanghai Cooperation Organization was first created, it was called S5.
Yeah.
And I was still even then writing in
Wow.
the papers. So my argument, one of the articles was called Shanghai 6. And the argument was that Pakistan should be a part of it.
Oh,
right?
awesome.
So today is a day of validation also, now that the SEO has come to Pakistan, and I think that it has great opportunity. Terrorism was discussed. It has a body called RATS,
Yeah.
and that is very effective forum for counter-terrorism. Similarly, climate change is a huge concern. We can work together. So, economic development, especially China and Russia, have actually found their paths. India is also catching up, but still there's a lot to learn there. I hope that we integrate and we work together. And finally, when it comes to regional stability, I think instead of one-upping each other, especially India, I hope India is listening. So instead of one-upping each other, we can work together.
Absolutely.
And build each other.
Absolutely, that is the hope, and hopefully, of course,
Ended
that
with a
is the
spoiler.
node. That is the node that we're all entering this summit in, and keeping that in mind. Thank you very much, Farooq, and thank you, Faisal, for joining us as part of this very special transmission. And of course, we will be here to talk more about the SEO summit as it begins tomorrow, and of course, have the big conversations and discussions as part of this platform, and take the future of this region forward. That's all that we have from the transmission for now. We'll now see you tomorrow.